Hello, Read 516. This is week 5. By the time you watch this, you will have a total of 3 sessions with your student under your belt. So I hope that you are getting more comfortable with administering the assessments. And as always, make sure you ask questions. Um, Before we start our lecture, I want to warn you that my dog is very active at the moment, and so he's making lots of noise and wants me to give him attention. So it's kind of interesting how I can't really get a quiet house even though I do not have any kids. So moving on, our part 1, I'll be doing some announcements and discussing some upcoming assignments. Okay, so let's begin with the announcements. I wanted to briefly discuss the WAPers, and I want to say that I was very impressed. You guys did an amazing job analyzing your results and planning your WAPer, planning your session with your student. One thing I do want to, well, I want to go over a few things, but as a reminder, please include the name, age, and grade of your student at the top of your paper or in the heading, just somewhere that I can refer to quickly. Many of you had the name, but some of you did not have the grade level. Try to condense the files if possible. This really helps me with grading, and the less files I have to open, the faster I can grade them and get those to you. So I know a couple of you did a really great idea. You actually included the artifacts in your Word document, which I really liked. So thank you to those. And again, just try to condense the files. It just makes it easier to grade, and that way I don't have to sift through all these different documents. Also, there was a couple of things I just wanted to make sure that you guys did. Please make sure to include a theory for intervention. So you don't have to create an intervention plan, but also, but you need to discuss possible areas that they may need intervention. So make sure you do that, especially as we get more into the different assessments in each domain. Also, please discuss limitations to the assessment and specify threats to validity and reliability. Some of you discussed limitations but excluded validity and reliability. Also be specific when reporting data and when analyzing results. So we want to be as specific as possible because we really want to know what areas we need to target with that student, especially when you're doing your final report to give to the parents. We want to be specific as possible so that we can provide them with examples. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at our rubric. Okay, so here's the rubric. I added some notes just to kind of remind myself what I wanted to remind you. All of you did a really great job with the multiple sources, but also this is something to consider in the future. So when you are assessing a student, you want to make sure that you're gathering lots of evidence in different areas. Okay, so I noticed some of you also did some really great informal assessments, such as a quick write, also the segmentation softball. Even though it's a game, it can also shed some light on whether that student has good segmentation skills. Here we have, so right here is make sure you adhere to the guidelines for administering, coding, and scoring the given assessment. So this will definitely be a factor once you begin to administer the QRI 5. That's not percentage, I meant to put 5. So some assessments have a strict protocol, but other assessments may just have you use your own. So if you do use your own, make sure you do code it so that whoever is looking at it knows exactly what you mean. Okay, so moving on to interests of the student are paramount. Everyone did a really good job here. Just make sure that when you are planning your sessions, you're making the activities meaningful. So you're not just saying, oh, we're going to do computer time. Computer time is fine, but also specify what you will be doing with that student. So maybe there's an activity on the computer that works with phonics and there's a certain sound that they need assistance with. So please make sure you do specify, because we do want our activities to be meaningful and engaging. Also, make sure you include time allotments. That really helps with time management because some assessments will take longer than others. There was a few of you that forgot to do that, but just please make sure to do it next time. Okay, going on to our next area. So using scores and grade level approximations where available, and provide clear and concise summary of qualitative finding. So clear and concise means that you are clear when you are reporting the results, and concise meaning that you're not going on and on and on and on. Okay, so please don't take that as I don't want examples of what they need help in. So if you're saying that student needs help with vowels, well, you may want to specify, is it long vowels, is it short vowels, is it art-controlled vowels? So just be specific in that area. Okay, going down to here with the teacher as agent, consequences of assessment to be considered. Please make sure you are critically analyzing all the data. So if you did a quick write with your student or a writing piece, you want to make sure you're analyzing that piece in addition to the assessments that you are given, that you gave. For example, All About Me, most of you did that, or the robot. So you would use that information not only to learn more about the student's interest, but you would use that to look at their spelling and making sure that they can encode, things like that. So you want to use that piece and then report the assessment of that. And lastly, as mentioned earlier, you want to explain the threats to validity. So please make sure you do explain that. And do explain, what is it, reliability? Is it validity? These are also in your text, and it specifies because there's different types of validity and reliability. And always, please make sure you do read over your WAPR, just to make sure that I can read and understand it, and because also we are in a graduate course. So this kind of sums up some of my feedback for your WAPR. And again, if you have any questions, if there's a piece of evidence that you're really unsure about, please feel free to ask me, but also make sure that you do ask me in a timely manner. All right, let's go back to our PowerPoint. Okay, so this lecture will be on Week 5's readings, which is Chapter 8, Spelling Inventories and Writing Assessments, our Chapter 9 Writing, a review of Chapter 7, Words Their Way Scoring Guide, and the QRI 5, which discusses procedures for the word list, for scoring the word list. And also we have an article to read, which is Revisiting the Role of Miscue Analysis. Okay, so there is a participation activity this week. It's back, so you will view a file on assessment artifacts for discussion forum. You are going to be analyzing something done by a student. So after you analyze it, you will go to the discussion forum and you will answer these questions. What do you notice from the assessment results? What phase of word recognition development is this student in? How do you know? What is your recommendation for further assessment and instruction? So you don't have to create an intervention plan, but you do have to suggest recommendations. And this is due October 1st. Okay, so just an overview of what it will be due on October 1st is the WAPR number 3 and artifacts, forum discussion. And as a reminder, forum discussions are not accepted late, and if you submit your WAPR late, it is reduced by 1 grade. All right, for session number 4, we are focusing on orthography and writing, and you will be administering the Words Their Way spelling inventory. You have a writing assessment, and this is your choice, so you have free reign on what you want to do with your student. And then you have to do the QRI 5 word list. So please make sure you do get this in because this is to set you up for the following week. You need to know where that student is at in order to know what assessment to start with the following week. And here are some optional assessments that you can give. And resources are on Titanium as always. And then looking forward on your last session with your student, you are going to be administering the narrative and expository for the QRI 5, and then we'll have a little celebration and wrap up with your student. And as always, there are some optional assessments, but you definitely have to give these two. You do not have to give another one, but if you want to maybe practice giving a running record, or maybe you want to get some more evidence about your student, highly recommend that you do another assessment. All right, so we have a busy few weeks ahead, and I wanted to kind of give you an outline of what is coming up from weeks 6 through 9. So week 6 is your session 4 with focusing on orthography, writing, and the QRI list. These are your readings. You have chapter 1 through 5 in the QRI, and then there's some video clips that I highly suggest that you watch to be more familiar with the QRI. And then your WAPR number 3 will be due that week. Okay, week number 7, we will have our session 5 with our QRI narrative and expository text and your celebration. So make sure you do read those chapters. You need to understand how to score them and how to administer them, and there will be 2 articles to read. And then WAPR number 4 is due. You also begin your assessment and recommendation summary report. This is an error. You will begin the report. It is not due yet. And I will be doing a screencast on how to complete this assignment, and I will go over it in class as well. For the week 8, you have 1 article to read and no student. So this is kind of your little break, if you can call it that, but just relax and breathe this week. You have WAPR number 5 due, and then your assessment and recommendation summary report due. I don't think this report is that challenging. As long as you put a lot of effort into your WAPR, you'll find that this is a lot easier to do. And there's no participation activity, and I wrote down syllabus change because it does say in the syllabus that there will be one, but there's just already so much for you to do that I kind of wanted to give you a break. And lastly, for the week 9, you have your first session with your new student. So I'm calling it session number 6, but it is your new student who will be a upper grade student. And by upper grade, I mean grades 4 and up. And there will be a participation activity that week. Okay, and I will stop here so we can, because I'm running out of time.